Welcome to the Emisarios Unidos de Luz channel. If you enjoy this near-death experience story, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Now let's start with the story. I was in a car accident that put me in a coma for 10 days, and during those 10 days, I had my NDE. Immediately after the collision, I remember rising above the accident and seeing from above my college and the surrounding neighborhood. When I saw the accident scene below me, I quickly realized that I was out of my body. Oh my God, I can't die yet. I still have to finish my finals, I remember thinking as I descended upon the scene of the accident to look upon my body. Even though I panicked upon seeing my lifeless body reposed in the crumpled car, I began to feel a profound peace and a very powerful motherly love envelop me. In the midst of that love, I sensed the presence of a being whose gentle and loving emanations augmented the experience of that profound and nurturing love. Ben, there is another school you need to attend first. Don't worry, you will return to your body soon, he said. I go by the name of Annie now, I replied. The being appeared to me as a beautiful man with a warm and compassionate smile, whose countenance made me feel relaxed and at peace. We already know everything about you, he replied. My guide and I began to float upward, and as we ascended, I became aware of a brilliant light centered upon my forehead, a light whose captivating and enthralling presence drew me magnetically. In awe of its magnificence, I was completely focused on that all-pervasive light, the light of divine love, as it surrounded, pervaded, and imbued every part of being with unconditional love. Is what I'm experiencing truly heaven? I asked my guide. Yes, my guide replied, smiling as he beamed with light. As we ascended even higher, I began to experience myself as a boundless love-based matrix, my essence or essential self. From that expansive vantage point, I experienced unconditional love from the perspective of spirit rather than from the perspective of a limited human ego sense of self that I was accustomed to. In that experience of oneness with the light of unconditional love, I was no longer plagued by thoughts of the past or future, and by virtue of that blissful state, I was for once in my experience of the present moment, free of my fearful thoughts and painful memories that caused me to experience sadness, remorse, or guilt. I was the one who communicated with you when you lived in Washington, reminding you that you lived 2,000 years ago and that we had worked together then and in other lifetimes. Again, in this life, we will work together once again. My mission with you at this very moment is to protect you on your journey by embodying the nurturing and protective love of God. You will be guided by the knowledge of your spiritual purpose into loving hands, my guide explained. Who are you? I asked my guide as I looked deeply into his eyes. I am the one you know as Archangel Michael, my guide replied. As the divine experience unfolded, I became aware of an altogether different type of love energy, and as I integrated that energy into my being, I could sense the movement of divine love on a grander scale. That divine love was utterly fulfilling, all-abundant and ever-present, and as I merged with that ever-abundant love, I realized that divine love pervades and imbues everything. I realized that divine love is that which animates and motivates, because divine love is the essence of everything. It was then that the light of divine love took the form of a swirling tunnel, a form that was facilitated by the movement of magnetic energy within molecules. The energy field created by those energized molecules was responsible for creating the three-dimensional portal that was the tunnel. Inside the tunnel, I became one with the omnipresent and omnipotent light of divine love, which emanated from the atoms of the tunnel and from those within my subtle form. As the energy of the tunnel raised the energy level of the atoms of my light body, I became aware of how the light enlivened and encoded my DNA with information. I became aware that the information would not be revealed all at once, but rather, it would be revealed slowly over the years that were to come. With the atoms of my light body raised to a higher energy state, memories of past events began to enter my awareness, and in particular, the past events of the lives of which Archangel Michael said that he and I had experienced together 2,000 years ago. In that memory, I found myself on top of a small rocky hillock, standing beside Yeshua, who is also known as Yeshua, whose gentle and loving presence brought great comfort to me. As I experienced that joyous reunion with Yeshua once again, I became aware of how Yeshua embraced all of life with his ever-abundant love. I observed the joy he experienced living in the spirit of unconditional love and how he was only aware of the all-pervasive love. I saw how spirit was his guide throughout his life. I saw from within him the light of love shine effulgently. "I see that light within you too now," he would say to Mary Magdalene innocently and light-heartedly. I recognized in Yeshua's eyes the same likeness of divine love energy that surrounded me in the tunnel, the light of love that pervades everything. I could feel the ever-abundant love between Yeshua and me, and I remember that we honored one another with that love in our celebration of a life that we lived together. "I am always with you, comforting you in your journey. You are never alone," he reassured before he began to deliver his message. The magnetic tools will be made available that can be used to refine the ego's illusion and to help one see that the truth always reflects love and not fear. When fear or guilt have been set aside, the reality of love will evolve into a creative matrix of unconditional love. We, in the ever more abundant refined dimension of love, hold that the truth is inherent within your image and likeness and that you are created in his image and likeness, the image and likeness of love, and not any of those illusions of fear that have immobilized your life. As miracles create a shift in your living matrix, those illusions will diminish, as will the reality born of those fear-sponsored illusions. Your connection with your enlightened self will bring the truth to your awareness, and together we form the strength that is the love within your cellular matrix. The liberation of illusion frees one of fearful thought and heals the sponsoring thoughts, which are responsible for fear-based creations and experiences. You will be a witness to the emancipation of all illusions, so that you may know the truth. When two men shift illusions and gather together in the love-based matrix, the foundation of the fear dissolves. You will be a witness to the enlightened earth when all guilt is released and the many fear-based illusions that bind our family in a web of sub-creation have shifted into the energy of love. The purpose of your return to earth is to be a portal, facilitating a process of refining any creative thought that transmutes fear into love. Our work will be to guide you so that you may establish your realignment with the source. The love-based lifestyle that the spiritual aspirant will be led to will be enhanced by love's embrace. The process that frees one of the illusions engenders many challenges, and that is why the Ascended Master's combined energy and support will always be present within the application of the magnetic tools, the results of which will relinquish all illusions through a process involving experiences whose cause and effect is love. You will find our all-encompassing energy and answers to all the questions in the form of a manuscript and in your presentations. During Yeshua's discourse, I felt my being embraced by the ever-abundant love, and I could feel it fill my being. When we parted, part of me wanted to hold on to his essence, but he lovingly reassured me that I would remember the tools I once used in the earth's past. "I'm holding my energy for you to be here, and our purpose together will result from the energy that you will be exposed to and from all that you will remember. When you return to earth, we will never be apart. I love you, and I am always with you, even if you do not think you feel my presence. No matter how things appear, you will always be on the right path, and we are always with you throughout your life," he explained. Suddenly, the tunnel experience ended, and the tunnel itself was assimilated into the enormous source of white light in my proximity. I don't know how long after, but sometime after the tunnel experience, I found myself in a classroom of sorts with a few other students and with an instructor at the front of the room. We were shown geometric shapes and explained the physics of their healing power, as well as about light as the source of energy in all physical forms. I learned that the magnetic energy that I experienced in the tunnel originated primarily from within the essence of the geometric shapes that give form to a love matrix. Although the lessons were fascinating, I was more interested in understanding the essence that energizes the shapes than in the shapes themselves. I wondered whether focusing on an object like the geometrical shapes would cause one to overlook the essence that gives the object its power, and I wondered about the danger of placing one's faith in the object rather than its essence. I was deep in such reflections when Mother Mary, refulgent with the brilliant light she exuded, entered the room. The light that she radiated from her essence was stabilized within a matrix of unconditional love, which focused that light and augmented its intensity. I regarded Mary in awe as that light of unconditional love filled and enlivened the room, and as lightning-like energy streamed through her to shower the instructor Raphael's chest. As Mary and Raphael greeted one another, Mary, while smiling at me, beckoned me to come forward. Mary and I then left the room, and while we walked, she asked me what my thoughts were on the material of study. I am grateful to be a part of the class and to be learning about such things. I am, however, mostly interested in learning about the essence of the shapes and less about the shapes themselves. It concerns me that if one is focused on the shapes rather than the essence that gives them their power, it may limit their healing potential. Wouldn't it be better for one to directly center themselves within the essence and connect with the source of all healing? I asked. I could feel the unconditional love she exuded fill me and envelop me when she replied blithely, "Dear heart, I already know. I already know you as one to give your attention to the deeper aspects of things." I then followed Mary as she escorted me into a room with a large plush chair in the center. The ambience of the room was serene as the walls glowed with unconditional love. Mary offered the chair to me as I absorbed the abundant love energy. Mary explained that sitting in the chair would facilitate the rapid healing of my physical body on Earth. She explained that I would return to Earth to do the energy work that I was destined to do in the future. As I sat in the chair, my mind, body, and everything around me seemed to fade away as the unconditional love healed my body and as the Creator's essence imbued every cell of my body. In a similar experience to that of the tunnel, I became one with the ever-present and abundant divine love energy that effortlessly rejuvenated and soothed every aspect of my being. I don't know how long I sat in the chair when my perception shifted and I became aware of Mary in the room. Mary beckoned me to follow her to another room, and as she spoke to me, I could feel her essence filling me with the light of unconditional love. I then followed her to that room, which, with its ranks of shelving, appeared to be a library of sorts. This is where you will be able to access any form of information requested in states of heightened awareness. It will become available to you as you begin to believe in yourself and the abilities you will acquire, she explained. We greet and acknowledge one another, as you observed when I came into the classroom earlier. In the presence of another or others, a mirror image and likeness of who we are, our essential selves, are passed on. When you pass on our energy signature, they too will remember that they are a great source. Those that desire to magnetically shift their world into the image and likeness of a source will create within themselves spirit's energy, establishing an opening into the dimension you are currently experiencing. As Mary spoke, I watched as the unconditional love of her essence intermingled with a beautiful aura of light that filled the room. In a vision, I watched as enlightened beings acknowledged each other's light before sharing the ever-abundant love with each other. I saw that when the light is first established, the sponsoring thoughts and creation stem from a refined divine love matrix that combines source energy to create an entity within the light as both parties interact and communicate. Within pure creation, the combined energy becomes a loving creative interchange between the enlightened beings. After that vision, I had another vision of people in a field enlivened and enhanced by a newly formed reality of unconditional love. In that vision, I saw a man who had practiced separating himself from remnants of dense and limited energy creating thoughts or events that he had previously attracted to his experience. The light source matrix within his essence was highly developed from his practice of attracting light into his innermost being. His desire to express the light prevailed over the fear thought constructs that he no longer wanted to activate, and it was owed to his faith and his steadfast resolve that he was successful in his transformation. Through his steadfast practice and through his faith, he repelled the geometric limited thought fear matrix and its sponsoring ego drama thought matrix from his creative energy. Shifting the thought matrices occurred easily when he detached linkages created by limiting thoughts by recognizing them for what they were and by denying them time and attention while holding on to the divine light matrix in the back of his mind. In the unwavering practice of his technique, limiting events were quickly disengaged from any creative potential they previously held, and without hesitation, his thoughts were totally absorbed in the light matrix. In that vision, I saw a man who was enveloped in the truth, such that only a refined essence of abundant love remained. The enlightened man, while radiating peace and love, walked over to another man whose matrix was also radiating inner peace. The fear-based mechanisms leading to the illusory dramas of the past for an exchange of energy were seen from their evolved macro perspectives as obstructive to the attainment of abundant love for all. Armed with their knowledge of the transformative power of abundant love and light, they extended their hands to each other to consolidate the individual matrices into a single matrix of amplified transformative power. The men exchanged enlightenment, love, joy, and peace with one another as the ego's dense illusions were repelled and transformed by the united love-light matrix, transforming those fear-based illusions into a brilliant white light. As the men extended their hands out to each other in the light of oneness, they recognized the purity of the creative force within each other, purified by the application of energy tools to consolidate the creative love matrix. I was excited when I considered the power and potential of those tools, yet I doubted my ability to use them. After all, I was just an ordinary person. I thought to myself that it would have been better to get a famous person to do the work of spiritual transformation. Furthermore, I saw myself as a shy person, and I didn't like being in front of a lot of people. There are others of your original soul who have also incarnated into physical bodies. The personality fragments or aspects that spiral from your essence, your essential self, or your soul self have their own purpose and activity to perform in order to complete the whole. You are the only one who can deliver this particular message of our healing work, and that is why you have been called. You've always been on the path to discovering specific aspects of truth. Your burning desire to know the truth at its depths catapults your desire to move beyond limitations. Your desire to uncover and discover the truth forms the foundation of receptivity to guidance arriving from your essential self and the ongoing guidance you will receive from us when you return to Earth. This is not a task suitable for those personalities who are already famous, as they are people who others attribute value to and for whom others will not receive guidance. You, however, are someone people can relate to, Mary explained. She also assured me that everyone in the pure etheric dimension of reality would be supporting and guiding me, and as she spoke, enlightened beings revealed their light in our presence by filling the room with light. Do you remember Yeshua? Mary asked. No, I don't, I replied. You also know him as Jesus, as Miriam clarified to you earlier, Mary reminded. Is Jesus here? I asked excitedly. No. He is holding his energy for you to be able to be here, and he is at the beginning of the dimensional shift. Do you remember seeing him? Mary asked. No, I replied as I tried to recall. He will support your return to your physical body. In time, you will experience a dimensional opening in your awareness, which will allow you to recall this multi-dimensional experience, and you will come to an awareness of Yeshua's enduring loving presence during your transitional shift. We will all be with you as you step out, and we will always be there with you in loving support, she reassured. In another vision, I saw that there were many enlightened beings lending their loving support, which served to affirm her reassuring words. My visit to heaven was coming to an end, as it was necessary for me to return in order to minimize the physical damage to my body. The energy all around us is what will be streaming through your awareness on Earth. Remember and allow the essence to flow into your being for that energy to enter the physical, Mary advised. I will remember, I repeated to myself. Mary smiled as she became aware of my intent. She reassured me that everyone in the etheric dimension would lend their support to the process and that I was not alone. As I absorbed all the surrounding energy, brilliant white light began to seep into my awareness and envelop me. As I returned to my physical body, I watched as objects of physical density appeared in front of me as I entered the room where my physical body was located. The light that carried me into the physical dimension transformed into light of various colors before being assimilated by my physical body. Returning to my body, it was quite a change from the peaceful atmosphere that I had just experienced. As much as I received support from heaven and the higher dimensional beings, anxiety and feelings of frustration and concern about what was to happen next plagued my thoughts, and I began to forget heaven and the pure love experience. Come back, it's time to wake up, time to come back, I could hear the neurologist say. I don't want to, I replied meekly. I sensed his relief, and his energy filled with joy. I greatly welcomed his relief as I observed the serenity and peace residing within his essence. I could feel the narrowing of my consciousness even though the spiritual experience was still active in the etheric dimension at a cellular level. Subtle memories imprinted within my etheric spiritual essence, with the potential for active communication with myself, were safely guarded and held deeply within my being. My heavenly experience by then seemed like a dream, even though other dimensional beings were still visible to me. With part of my consciousness on earth while another part was still in heaven, I experienced moments of confusion, although being able to see the enlightened body forms of those who physically gathered around me in the hospital provided me with confirmation, reassurance, and relief that what I experienced was indeed real. I realized that the essential self of one of the doctors in the hospital was one of my instructors in heaven. He was a caring escort who stood by my side as my physical body continued to recover from the concussion and head injury from the coma. Our conversations reminded me that our focus on earth and our focus on all things physical encourage us to forget who we really are and our purpose on earth. His purpose was specifically to heal physical ailments. He was there to help facilitate the highest potential restoration of the neurological system. How fitting it was that one of the teachers in the dimensional shift experience was here, rendering his aid to heal what was one aspect of the foundation of our dimensional shift experience.